WPGC
18 years in a row.
95.5.
I love everything about PGC.
Good morning and welcome to Community Focus. I'm your host, Dr. Justine Love. I'm joined in the studio this morning with a very special friend of mine who has now embarked on a new endeavor, which is always positive when you reinvent yourself, and he has become an author. So his name is Archie R. Beslow. And Archie, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So let's talk about the name of your book. It's The Parent, the Coach, and the Mentor. And the focus of this book is empowering our youth, parents, and coaches to bring awareness to bad behavior and the effects our children athletes have on and off the field. So we need to let some people that's in the NFL, the NBA, the National Hockey League, National Baseball, Major Baseball League understand that, because, you know, that's a learned behavior, or
Yes,
a behavior that is acceptable, you know, under the premises of being in athletics or team sports, which isn't true, because, you know, a lot of folks don't realize this, but my degree is in health and physical education. So knowing that, you know, team sports empower you. They teach you how to play,
Yes.
play together, fundamentals of the game. And that's why I'm very, you know, enthusiastic about children playing in sports, because that's exactly what the premise is of team sports.
Right.
But sometimes it's the parents that jack it up.
You ain't got to tell me.
So let's talk about you as a young man got involved in organized sports in your community, in your schools.
Yes, ma'am. I grew up in Washington, D.C., of course, in Southeast. I came up through Bald Eagle Recreation Center. Back in those days, man, either you were in trouble or you're involved in athletics. I was blessed to be around a lot of coaches in my community that worked at Bald Eagle, kind of reeled a lot of us kids in, meaning they would take us fishing, we would take walks in the park, we would play all sports, you know, basketball, baseball, and football, all in that same day, just to keep us out of trouble.
You went fishing, huh?
Yeah, we actually went fishing.
I still like going fishing. You know, That is just you and nature and a hook.
Right.
And it can be, you know, like you say, oh, that's boring. But it really isn't, because it makes you sit still.
It does. Give you time to think.
Exactly. And sometimes in the hustle and bustle of everything that we're doing, that you do need to sit still. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what persons or experience impacted you the most during your time as a youth in organized youth sports.
Right. There was one particular guy that I can remember, Coach Staggs, may he rest in peace. Coach Staggs had a way of just nurturing all the young guys in the neighborhood, and the young women as well. He kept everything fun with us. He would always talk to us about positive things, about life. He would tell us to watch the news. It was little things like that impacted my life to this day, because he wasn't just a coach. He was like a father figure. He was like an older brother. He was like somebody that genuinely cared, man. There's been times when Coach Staggs the recreation center would close at like 5. You had Coach Staggs taking like 8 kids home in the back of his pickup truck.
Oh.
You know, those days are gone. I mean, some coaches still do it, but this guy did it day in and day out.
So based on that, his impact made you want to be a coach.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so knowing that, so what inspired you to write this book, The Parent, the Coach, and the Mentor? I know that you're a parent, so that's pretty obvious, but the coach and the mentor, what happened?
As I look around, man, I see a lot of coaches, and parents are so driven by wins. And there are a lot of kids that play sports just to compete. There are a lot of kids that play sports just to belong. There are kids that are playing sports because they're forced to do it. But you have to realize they're kids. And
Absolutely.
Right. So I want all the parents and all the coaches, and I challenge everybody to allow the kid to be a kid. So in my time, I would just sit back and watch. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to old school, how our coaches did us when we was coming up. They just made it fun. They made all kids want to be a part of it, from the kid that had the most talent to the least talent. Nowadays, the kids that don't have good talent, they kind of get put on the back seat. And I don't think that's fair.
They ride the bench.
And those kids can turn out to be CEOs of a major corporation.
You know, it's interesting you said that. I had a great conversation with Lee Bowden.
Okay.
And he said that, you know, they were just telling him that he wasn't the best. And then when he went and when he played in NFL, how he just blossomed, but it still wasn't good enough.
Right.
But, he said it was all right because, he got what he wanted out of it. He got his college degree, and he is still coaching. So I appreciate that
Yes, ma'am.
that sometimes when folks are just on the back burner, people don't know that the back burner might be the hottest burner and the best talent out of that. So let's talk about your actual philosophy of coach to mentor.
Basically, I just my philosophy is to simply make sure that the coach and the parents don't want it more than the kids. And it goes back to what I just said. You have so many coaches and parents are just, forcing their kids to get scholarships, forcing their kids to be great. So my philosophy is allow the kids to be kids. Let's find strategies to make these young men and young women be better people in life, better people in their communities, so they can be self-motivated, not demotivated.
Right. And I understand that for some folks, if parents are challenged, that they are looking at, this is the only way you're going to go to college because we don't have any money.
Well, about that, that's a whole nother, we can talk for hours about that one, because I just had a conversation recently. I just went out, excuse me. We just need people to kind of try to refocus that, because they're kids. You have to think about it. You're telling kids that you have to get a scholarship. You have to do this. So then me as a child, I look at my mom and dad, and I know people don't have the best situations, but let's talk about positioning our kids to get those scholarships. Not you have to get them, or not mommy and daddy, we need you. No, let's position them.
Well, it's the parents' responsibility. The children didn't ask to be brought here.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to, you're supposed to have figured that out before they got there.
Yes.
So knowing that, what do you believe are the best components of a good sports program? Because parents, they want their children to play sports and organize sports, but what are the good components?
I think the good components is when you have a positive environment. See, a lot of organizations, you need to focus on the positive environment, and you also have to realize that it's a service. So parents are actually paying you money to provide a good service. So in knowing that, you should make sure that they have good equipment, good coaches, some type of parenting classes. That's another thing youth sports don't have, parenting classes.
And anger management, because we always see, always on TV, some parent that has gotten into an altercation with another parent on the field.
It's crazy.
Now, let me ask you something, Archie. Do you find that, and I'm glad you said girls, because, that's another, because of Title IX, that's another reason why girls are in athletics even more. Do you find that when it's girl sports, is it different from male sports? Or are we just as competitive?
Wow. Just to share a little light on something that was in my book, I actually coached the girls' basketball team. And mind you, these little girls never played basketball before in their lives. I took them to 2 championships. We won the first championship. The second championship, we came up second. We came runner-up. So to answer your question, now in time, girls are as competitive as young men, because there are so many other platforms out here. You have WNBA basketball.
Right.
You have, professional track. So those days of guys dominating athletics, that's done.
Well, and asking this question along with that, do you find that the girls are more grounded and focused when they come to practice than the boys?
Yes, they are. The young ladies that I've coached in the past, young ladies they're like sponges. They sit there and they absorb, and they do demand your respect and they demand your attention, which means you can't just kind of just go as you please with young ladies. Whereas though with the guys, they're so used to just guys being rough and direct and all that. But ladies want to be kind of nurtured. They want you to actually talk to them, teach them, because they do want to receive what you're saying. Mm-hmm. With guys base their things off of athleticism, where the young ladies, they want to learn.
They want to learn the fundamentals of the game.
Yes.
Right. So knowing that, and you've written this book to help parents, and plus it was the insight that you got out of just being a coach. Mm-hmm. What do you want people to get out of your book, reading your book?
Basically, I just want us to put the kids first. Realize that, where the world is going today, our kids need to be grounded and armed with all the information that they can possibly have, because around every corner, there's going to be a challenge for our kids. And sports is not going to be the number one vehicle to help our kids with these challenges. We have to actually start giving them insight, like a lot of wisdom, like we did when we were coming up. You had a whole bunch of people giving us wisdom all day long. People wasn't talking about sports when we were coming up. They was talking about get a job, do your schoolwork.
Do your schoolwork. Stay in school.
Stay in school, right.
Don't have any babies.
Hello? Right. And sports was like secondary. Now sports is like in the forefront. And that's why these guys are not getting these grades, because you're putting more emphasis on the sports and not the academics. So you have superstars, but they're not qualified to play sports, because you're saying, okay, well, you're telling me to be the best basketball player, best baseball player, best football player. I'm doing that. But you're not telling me to be the best student. Now, you're saying it, but you're not putting me in position to be that best student. So we have to shift and put more emphasis on the academics and sit some of these kids down. If they can't make the grades, then they can't play. Don't find ways to get them involved. No, if they can't make the grade, they can't play.
Yeah, it's almost like the concept of, social promotion, when they're in school. If you're too old to be in this grade, so we're going to move you up. Well, I mean, what a disservice to a child.
It's crazy.
And a disservice to our community.
Yes.
That means that you don't value our children.
Right.
So as a parent, what's the one thing that you want me to do when I come and drop my child off at practice? Do you want me to drop them off? Do you want me to stay? Do you want me to stay and bring food? What do you want me to do?
Wow, that's in my book as well. I want you to stay, because it's a joint effort. I want you to stay to make sure that I'm doing right by your child. I also want you to stay to ask me questions so that you can actually go home and reinforce some of the things that I'm teaching your child, and just be there to support your kid. A lot of kids want their parents just to support them.
Yeah, they want them to be there. Watch me.
That's all they want.
Yeah, and they want that in school also.
Yes.
When they have a program, they want their parents to come to school.
That's in the book as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad, I'm glad that you did that.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
book is, has lots of pearls in it and things that we take for granted,
Yes.
but are so essential for our children to be successful. So, Archie, what's next? What's next for Coach Archie?
Well, actually, I launched my organization called Coach the Mentor. You can also check me out on www.archiebeslow.com. I just want to start a movement. I want to refocus the parents' thinking and the coaches' thinking, and really, put a lot of emphasis on academics, and also our culture. The profanity needs to stop. The parents on the sideline needs to stop, because it's all learned behavior, and all our kids and our babies are watching our conduct. And you wonder why they act the way they act when they're not around. Is because mom and dad is doing it. And kids absorb everything that adults do.
Oh, absolutely. They mimic everything you do.
Right. And so you're just giving them an excuse to act out as well. So I just challenge everybody to just think about our kids first. Think about your actions, your character on the sideline, your character at home. Let's just start uplifting our young kids so that they can look forward to a positive life, a productive life, because they are going to be our future leaders.
Well, even though the title of your book is The Parent, the Coach, and the Mentor, at home, they are the parent, the coach, and the mentor, and they need to step up to the plate and do that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Archie, again, thank you. I am so glad that you did this book. Oh, and I know who did this photo on this book. I think I know that man. But anyway, again, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing that. And this is a tool that I hope that when you have new players come, the teams that you are coaching,
yes, ma'am,
that you give this as a handbook to the parents,
yes,
or have that session before their child is accepted into a program that, there's some responsibility that you have.
Yes, ma'am.
And on that note, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
And you've been listening to Community Focus.
Mystic mate, don't hesitate, illuminate.